So today we're going to talk about peer pressure. So peer pressure, we got some young people in the audience, but peer pressure is actually very independent of age. Peer pressure happens throughout life. People have been known to buy houses that they can't afford because of peer pressure. People have been known to spend crazy amounts of money and time and energy because of peer pressure. People have been known to do all sorts of things. So it's not just like junior high kids that get peer pressure. In fact, if you never learn about what peer pressure is, you will continually suffer from it throughout life. So, peer pressure, that's what we're going to talk about. And how this fits into self-therapy is because self-therapy is three things. So just a reminder, self-therapy is connect to self, connect to others, and commit to daily practice. So connect every day to yourself somehow, however you like. Spend 5 minutes, meditate, do breathing, do journaling, write a few words. You have served that. You have taken one little step towards building a connection with yourself, and a life full of little steps turns into big mountains climbed. That's why we do it every day. So connect to self every day. Lots of videos and stuff talk about ways you can do it, flash all that, you can watch other videos. We're going to talk about connecting to others because that really has everything to do with peer pressure. So first of all, peer pressure is not entirely negative. It's not always negative. It may be seen as negative, but peer pressure can be positive, can be negative, it can be neutral, and everything in between. It can be positive and negative, but one thing it is always, no matter what it is, it's always a learning experience. It's not an experience to get away from, because you can't live in a hut or in a cave. Many people try, they drink themselves to death. Humans, as a basic function of our mind, survival, we need social interaction. It's wired into the brainstem, right next to where your breathing is wired, right next to where your desire to eat food. Would you believe someone if they told you you couldn't eat food? You don't need to eat food. Probably not. You would not fully believe them. And so anyone who tells you you don't need to connect to anyone else doesn't know what they're talking about. Because humans are a social animal, and that's why we are here, and the saber-toothed tiger and the dinosaurs all dead. It's because we are social and we're socially intelligent, and that's built in to the core of our mind. We need other people to be healthy. We need them actually to be unhealthy. And so existing in a peer pressure environment, learning to learn from positive, neutral, or negative experiences like the bully is crucial. So, why? So let's talk about what happens in peer pressure. So peer pressure is basically a group of people saying, I remember when I was going to junior high school, and every day on my way to school, I was either offered crack, cocaine, or marijuana. I remember walking by the bleachers. There was the cool kids there. They were smoking something. I didn't know what they were doing. And I was offered it regularly. That was kind of my existence. And so what was happening was there was me And then there was a group of others. A couple of others, and they were all doing the same thing. And so there was an exchange of energy. There's kind of an exchange of energy both ways. How? Because communication is vast majority, 99% non-verbal. This is very important for you to understand this. Because if you understand this, you'll understand why. The nature of this interaction is 99.9% non-verbal. No matter what they're saying, the energy, the body position, the posture, how they say, it's non-verbal. So what that means is you can never really lie. You can try. Many people try. The other person always knows. Always knows. Why? They don't know what. Communication is always heavily perceived, but it's not like they can read your mind. All they'll do is they'll get a sense of this person is saying one thing, but I'm getting a different feeling from what they're what's going on inside, and that makes it two-way. In addiction, we call that the double life. And whenever you have someone who's saying one thing, doing another, it means we don't trust that person. So if your parents are saying one thing, there's a saying. Parents sometimes say this. They say, do as I say, not as I do. You ever heard that? Do as I say, not as I do. I'm just, I want you to be better, I know I'm smoking this cigarette, but you don't do that, okay? My nephew, one day he was swearing. He dropped the I don't like swearing, but I used to swear like a sailor in med school, like a sailor. But he sort of the poop word, sh, that word. So, and then the question was from the parents, I never say this word. It's not like this word is ever there. It's not like my mom or my sister-in-law regularly use this word. And yet, how did this child learn this word? He's 4 years old, 3.5. He learned it because when the word was said once, it was backed with emotion. The inside and the outside were saying the same thing, and it hits them. Oh, this is important. It's a negative thing, but learning happens. So when we project, we have to understand our words is not the only thing we say. Our words are the very least amount of what we say. I have a lot of medical students who come around and say, I'm great, but their body is screaming anxiety at me. I sometimes mention it to them, they get upset. But the thing is that you have to understand the reason why peer pressure exists is it's the nonverbal communication. So it's really simple. This exchange is going to happen, and it's like a tug of war. Have you ever played that game, like rope? Like one class pulls the rope one way, the other class pulls. You ever play that game? Is it fun? Yeah, it's fun, right? Because one side's going to win. One side wins, right? Which side wins? The stronger side. So when it comes to this energetic interaction, what you have to understand is peer pressure is simply a question of, is this group going to be pulled towards the point of view of this person, or is this person going to be pulled into those people? There's a couple of physics considerations in this. So the law of physics says that more means stronger. In a tug of war, if you have more members of the team, they pull stronger. So if you have 3 people, they're going to have like an energy that's going to sort of be a little bit, it's going to, 3 people smoking cigarettes. 1, 2, 3. Hey, have a cigarette. So those 3 people are doing something, and they're telling you to do it too. Energetically, communication is nonverbal, so you have 3 people projecting onto you, hey, smoke, come and fit in, be one of us. That's a very core human desire, is to fit in. That's why in the Ice Age, you guys know the Ice Age? Everything died, humans didn't. I think we were apes back then, or something. And so we clustered together. Do you think that if there was an ape back then, that was like, I'm not like those people, I'm doing my own thing, I'm going to go in my own cave. Do you think that ape made it? No, because it's cold. When you're alone, you're cold. It's kind of, and sometimes it's just that body heat that's going to keep you going through the night to get food the next day. Sometimes you have 10 people go out to gather food. One person doesn't make it, but the other 9 find food, and then they bring it back and feed the rest. Survival is greater in groups. So when you are being offered a smoke or a drink or a cigarette or something, what's happening is a very core survival instinct is being fulfilled. If you go with them, I'm in the group. I'm safe. Happens in med school. Lots. It happens in every class. In fact, the thing is that it happens a lot in junior high. It's very blatantly obvious, the desire to fit in, but actually it happens throughout life. Anytime you get a group of people together, watch any of these reality TV shows. My mom was into MasterChef for a while. And it was the same thing, right? Cliques would form, people would get together, and it's just this process. So when you fit in with everyone, you feel better. If those people are doing something that's bad, you'll still feel better. Because at least that thing is filled. Or if everyone's posting happy things on Facebook, even if you're being very miserable, you want to post something happy, it's at least relaxing. So this is why people do it. Peer pressure is the non-verbal exchange of energy. Communication is 99% verbal. It's not. So when someone says, have a cigarette, you've never smoked before, you see those pictures, like rotten lungs, and it's gross. But if the desire to feel good in a group is greater than the suffering caused by smoking a cigarette, you will cross over. That's why many people do. And so this can work in the other way too. You can have another group of people who are kind of in a recovery zone. And they might be saying something like, let's come meditate. Let's hang out. And let's journal. Let's talk about feelings. Instead of ordering cocaine, let's just have, let's have a Pepsi. Or lemonade or something. Is lemonade still cool? No? Yeah. Anyways, so the thing is, when peer pressure is simply about how you relate to a group, And if there's a lot of people doing the same thing, another common area is gossip. A lot of groups, they gossip together, right? They smoke, or they do alcohol, they drug, gamble. You'll notice that a lot of these things happen in groups. Now why? Why might this person be pulled towards this group rather than this group? That has everything to do with the core. So every human has like a core energy streak kind of running through them. And if that core energy, that core self-belief, that core internal inside strength, that connection to true identity, that if that is very, very, very impaired, if it's very weak, like a hard childhood, brought up, a lot of instability, a lot of fights, mom and dad, lots of stuff, then that child won't know who he is or she is. Kind of makes sense. Hey, come be with us. Hey, that feels really nice. These people actually want to talk to me. They actually want to be with me. You know, you may not believe it, but I never ever tell anyone not to go see their drug dealer. I'm an addiction doctor. I never tell anyone don't go hang out with your drug dealer. Why? A lot of times the drug dealer is also the therapist. Is also the friend. It's also the one person that might be keeping that person from suiciding. By the way, people also suicide together. That's the thing. The thing is that we all need connection. If we are not secure in ourselves, then we will go the other direction. It's simple tug of war. If your inside is secure, you're like that really, really big person on the team that's worth like 20 people. If your inside is not secure, then you're going to go with those people. Unless you have your own group. And so in a lot of early recovery, a lot of, we say, you know, get in with a group. Connect to other people. Why do we say that? Because we're stronger together. So let's say you have like 4 or 5 people. That's your group. Positive. You tell each other that you matter, that you care about each other, that it's good. Then when these people come and pull you, you're not going to want to go because you're going to have to leave that group. That group has like gravity. There's gravity holding it all together. And it's stronger. It's stronger gravity than what holds these people together. And one thing I'll say about gossip, I'm just going to say this. If someone is telling you gossip, 100% chance they're going to be telling someone else about you. So anytime anyone's like, hey, can I tell you something? You'll never believe what I just heard. Just imagine tomorrow, the next day, the next week, the next year, hey, let me tell you, this person told me A, B, and C, and that's what suicide's all about, especially in kids. It's oftentimes related to secrets shared, disclosed, and often I won't say that's not what it's all about. It's oftentimes one of the core triggers of suicide. Suicide is a separate topic, which we should talk about. Actually, we'll talk about it another time. So the reason. So gossip is very corrosive. It's very toxic. I strongly suggest you avoid any group that does it. If mom and dad are doing it, taking yourself to another room, not listening to it. We consume, just like we eat stuff, we consume everything through our senses. Once you've eaten, okay, let's say I eat a donut. Can you ever uneat a donut? Like, sure, I guess if it's within 20 minutes, you can vomit it up, right? But even then, you've taken some in, for sure. But if you wait 20 minutes, you eat a donut, can you uneat the donut? You can never uneat the donut. So what happens when you've eaten a donut? It works itself through your system. You absorb it. Your body knows this isn't good. Tim Hortons muffins, though, are the worst. I used to think muffins were healthy. Tim Hortons muffins are more unhealthy than like the worst donut, which is crazy to me because it's a muffin. Anyways. So once it's in, it's in. It can never be taken out. Now, think about that. Once it's in, you've consumed it. Once you've taken the poison, your body has a natural system for dealing with it, but it's going to have to deal with it. It's going to take energy. You know, the yogis and the Eastern Asian people, they don't drink cold water. Why? Because it's kind of a waste of energy when you think about it. You drink cold water, and then your body's like, now I have to warm that up. And now I have to eat some more to create energy to warm that up. That's why a lot of health practitioners suggest drinking warm water. Because why waste the energy? And so you don't just consume with your mouth, you consume with your eyes. You look at someone else's wallet, you look at someone else's fancy house, you've eaten it. Your mind's going to work it. You look at a drink, your mind's going to eat it. It's going to have to work it through. If you're strong, you'll have to work it through, but why waste your energy? If you're going to hear gossip, once you hear some secret about someone, you can't unhear it. Now you got to keep it. And it's going to eat you. Because we're as sick as the secrets that we keep, as they say in AA. So the point is, hanging out with this crew, their bonds aren't going to be very strong to each other. And it's going to be unhealthy interaction. They're always going to lose a tug of war with healthy groups. So early on in recovery, especially early on when you're not strong in your core, you've had a lot of disruption, you haven't really found yourself yet, you're going to want to find people like you that want something better, that want to be healthier, getting together in the group, getting into the group energy. You know, I've held some really weird yoga postures, but you can hold yoga postures a lot longer when you do it in a group. You can lift more weights. Why do people like lifting weights together? Because they can do more in a group. You feel motivated. Recovery is best done in a group. Join a group. Be part of a group. What's that group? It could be a yoga class. It could be, soccer with a good coach. It could be a sport. It could be other kinds of classes. There's many ways. For an older person, it could be AA. It could be church. It could be, a place to volunteer or do seva. But we are constantly in life confronted with this choice. The healthy community or the unhealthy community. And if you ever want to be able to be free of the tug of war, it's almost like you're the center. There's a bunch of people tugging on one side and there's a bunch of people tugging on the other. If you want to be free of that, then you're going to have to make this transition to strength. And that's going to come from connecting to yourself every day. Healing your wounds, healing your traumas, healing stuff. Learning to access energy outside of yourself. Meditating, praying, all of these things, the more you do and the more regularly you do, it gives you the power. Which will make it a lot easier to say, no, thank you, I don't want to hear that story about that person. I know it's very interesting, but you know what? The doctor told me that if I listen to that, I'm going to have to spend energy on playing with that in my head, keeping it a secret. I'd rather just not know. I'm a trauma therapist. I always tell patients, I tell trainees, curiosity killed the cat. Never ask anyone a question that you really don't need to know. Because the more you hear that you don't need to know, the more energy you have to consume. Did you know the brain consumes something crazy like 60% of your food energy you eat? And your brain is consuming the vast majority or a majority of that energy. Your nervous system consumes most of the energy that you use day to day. So you weaken it when you engage in unhealthy group activity. But the only way you're going to stop doing this is by finding this, and you'll find this first. So if you are in a place where you're stuck in this, you're one of these people, okay? You're one of these people. You're in a group. It's not that healthy for you, but you're the quiet one that listens to everyone else's problems, and you're kind of wanting to get out of that. Well, one thing I'll tell you is you're not going to cross over to the other team. It doesn't happen that way. You're not just going to up and go, because that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that quickly unless something really drastic breaks. Usually when something drastic breaks, you just find other people who do the same thing. That's codependency. So these bonds are broken, right? Thick as thieves. Thieves rat on each other, right? So let's say that breaks, and there's another group of people. Same side, still smoking, still gossiping, but they're a different group. And you're just going to jump ship to over there. That's what's going to keep happening. So if you're this person and you really want to get on the other side, it happens slowly. It happens, maybe this person first starts by just having a conversation with one of these people on Facebook. Just chats with them. Still engaging in all this, but just chatting. Because the person over here won't want anything to do with the person over here, unless they're interested in talking healthy. So we start with a little. You find one healthy person, a coach in your life, a teacher that you respect. If your parents aren't your thing, and you can't go to them, then there's always someone, some adult, a doctor, a nurse, some person that you can go and start just talking to. And just talking to, remembering communication is nonverbal mostly, you're going to start absorbing their good energy. That's going to boost you. You start doing a bit of meditation every day. You start journaling. You start boosting yourself. And over time, faster than you think, this connection will become more solid. Maybe you'll start talking to two people over there. And once you have a stronger pull for that, one day all of a sudden you just make the shift. But it doesn't happen all of a sudden. It doesn't happen without your effort. And everyone can, no matter how unhealthy your situation, everyone has one person in their life. There's the kids' help phone. There's block parent program, which used to be around when I was a kid. Is that still around? Block parents? You heard about that? Block parents? No. Okay, that dates me pretty good. So but it was a program where you can put a sign up in your window if you're like a trusted parent that can, that kids can confide in and talk to. It's a great program. I'm sure there's something like it. So the one connection at a time, a little bit every day, that's recovery. And recovery will inevitably lead you into a group where you feel built up, where you feel loved, where you feel treasured for who you are, not for what you can bring, not for your clothes, not for helping people cheat on exams or whatnot, not for the drugs that you can bring, not for the car ride that you can give. So all of these things happen slowly with time, one step at a time. Which is why we say daily practice. Connect to doing it daily. Because a little step every day is far more than a big leap once a year. That's what people usually do. They make a New Year's resolution. I'm done with this. Delete social media. And then a month later they're back in it. You're much better served by a little step every day. So that's what I would say. And the reason why I say positive, negative, neutral is because if you have an experience, you feel good, and all of a sudden someone comes to you and you just really want to be part of a negative team, it tests you. I was complaining once to my yoga teacher about my life, and I honestly don't have that much to complain about. And she said something funny to me that her teachers told her, which was, do you think that you're special? That you won't be tested in life? Think you're some king or queen that you're just not going to have tests? You think you're exempt from the rule? No one is exempt from the rule of tests. Tests don't end with school. Every day brings its tests, but every day you are given everything you need to solve that test. You just have to pass a test. Tests are a good thing. You pass a test, that's, I'm a doctor. I've written, God knows, thousands, tens of thousands of tests in life. Lots of tests. And even more informal tests. Without any tests, I would never be able to call myself a physician. Without any tests, you can't graduate grade 12. Without any tests, you can't have anything useful in life. Tests are a part of life. The sooner you look forward to tests, the better your life will go. Because every test is accompanied with everything you need to know. And so, if you find yourself influenced in a negative way by peer support, by a peer group, and you really want to go and do something bad, it's just a test. You have a strong craving, it's a test. It's something to learn. Learn about yourself. That test will expose a weakness in your self-therapy practice. Maybe you stopped meditating a few days ago. Maybe you stopped journaling. Maybe you didn't call your good friend that's actually a good friend for you. It's been a week. You haven't recharged your batteries. Usually that's what tests do, is they reorient you to that. So then you can say, no, I didn't do it for a week, but I'm going to get back in it. So peer pressure is good. Best thing. It's allowed the human race to exist to this day. Sketchy days these days, but the point is peer pressure is not a bad thing. It's a learning experience. And if you're susceptible to peer pressure, it's not about the group. It's all about your core and your connection and your group. So people complain a lot about their peers. That's gossip. It's not about them. You feel a strong pull to be with them, that's about you. Not anything else. Owning it will let you get forward. Now, it doesn't mean they don't got problems. 80 people a week in Canada suicide every week. 80 people. Lots more overdose, lots more people are dying all the time. Dropping like flies, as to say. So a lot of these people don't make it. But you can make it. One day at a time. So I think that's where I'll pause. I'll just, hands up if you have any questions. There may be no questions, but if any questions about this sort of subject, put your hand up. And if no questions, that's okay. Or comments. Skepticism. Skeptics make the best converts. Dr. Gill, that's BS. I don't buy that. Cool thing about this is it's all very sound in neurobiology. There's all sorts of neurobiologies to support the midbrain function of peer support. And it's very important to understand that you need groups. The people, I meet all sorts of people in my work. I meet people who can't stop drinking, who are like yogis in a cave. They're just like so connected to their soul and all this stuff, but they still drink. Because it's dissociative, what they're doing. They're kind of leaving their body, they're having a good time, but then they're not bringing that reality back into themselves. So connecting to others is what tests your connection to self. And it's kind of like weights. You know, if I list, you know, if I want to like get some big biceps and this is all I ever do, like I take this chalk, it's not going to really work. Like, I mean, it'll work if I'm like, haven't eaten in 4 weeks and I can't lift anything. This is a good start. It's not going to get me much further than that, though. I'm going to have to find heavier weights. I'm going to have to find stronger resistance. Practice with that, muscles will get bigger if I take a rest. So that's why you need other people. It's because other people will expose your imperfections and then give you something to work on. So tests are not bad. The sooner you sort of view them as not bad, the sooner you lose the pity party. Pity party. We all know the pity party, right? Oh, it's me. Oh, I've had pity parties, lots of pity parties in my life. It's funny thinking back at it. And all of you will have pity parties. And that's a part of the process. So I think we'll stop there. And